Once again, thank you to Michael Hill. That was tremendous. And now we're fortunate to have an interesting 2003 Marlins championship panel. And I'll let Dave and Horne introduce the panelists, but first I'll introduce Dave. Dave's in his 50th season broadcasting professional baseball games. He was the 2011 recipient of the Baseball Hall of Fame's Ford C. Frick Award, which honors excellence in baseball broadcasting. He spent 32 seasons with the Montreal Expos from 1969 to 2000. Before moving to South Florida and joining the Marlins as their lead radio play-by-play announcer in 2001. He has called many memorable moments in baseball history, including the Marlins' 2003 World Series championship, Dennis Martinez's perfect game in 1991, and the 3,000 hits by Willie Mays and Tony Gwynn, and hopefully another 3,000 hit coming up pretty soon. He was inducted into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame in 2014, and now Dave Van Horne.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to know some people remember those Montreal years. 32 of them there. There was a time when I thought on this particular day, today, 2016, that I'd still be there. But that didn't happen. That didn't work out. And I was very fortunate that John Henry and David Dombrowski saw fit, after I finished the 2000 season broadcasting the games on the internet only in Montreal, my final year there. And I believe to this date, that stands as the first time anyone broadcast Major League Baseball strictly on the internet. Now, of course, you get the games everywhere. Everybody's broadcast home and away throughout Major League Baseball. But back then in 2000, I think that was the first time that a Major League team had their broadcasters do every game on the internet. So that was interesting to be a pioneer in that regard. But I love my 32 years there. I miss it. I wish them well in their venture to reobtain a franchise and take Major League Baseball back to Montreal. Thrilled, though, to come to the Marlins, now in my 16th season here, and obviously for a player and for a broadcaster. The ultimate is the World Championship. That eluded me for years, and it eluded some of the players that were part of 2003. But let's start right away with the 2003 World Championship Marlins. A big part of that final run in 2003, right on through the playoffs in the World Series, coming back to the Marlins, had already been known as Mr. Marlin Jeff Conine, ladies and gentlemen. Mike Lowell, as you know, went down with that wrist injury, and the Marlins needed a player, and they were able to go out and get Jeff Conine, who was a major catalyst. We'll never forget that moment when he threw J.T. Snow out at the plate in the series against the San Francisco Giants. The next player had possibly the greatest work ethic. I think he's in a tie right now with Ichiro. The greatest work ethic I've ever seen. Ichiro has a terrific work ethic. This man was dedicated to having himself ready mentally and physically every single day that he came to the ballpark, and he was a major contributor, as you know, to the success the Marlins have had. They were very fortunate to have had this young man, Juan Pierre. JP, not only an outstanding ball player with a great work ethic, but he's a terrific person. And he brought that leadership quality with him to the Marlins. At age 72, they tapped on his shoulder and said, "Jack, we want you to go downstairs and take over the ball club." And so Jack McKeon took over for Jeff Torborg, who had gone 16-22 to start that 2003 season. Jack's first game was a Sunday afternoon on the 11th of May that year. The night before, the Marlins had lost to the Rockies. They had lost 11 out of 15. Things were not going well for the team. And on the 11th, Jack took over that Sunday, a 7-2 win over the Rockies. Carl Pavano, with a terrific start, gave 7 innings and some headaches to Jack because Pavi scattered 12 hits in the 7 innings, but he only allowed 2 runs, and the Marlins won the ball game. So you won 3 out of 4, but then, Jack, reality set in. You lost 6 straight. And that was a challenge for the 72-year-old who had taken over, second oldest, to manage a big league club, and the only man with 1,000 major league victories and 1,000 minor league victories, Jack McKeon. Trade again. Now, I should say that after losing 6 straight, you got to 500 on June 26th. 40 wins, 40 losses. It was a battle to get there, but you did. You got over 500 on the 4th of July. You were at 44 and 43. And by August 2nd, with a win over Houston, that team was 10 over. What a move they had made. They were 60 and 50. Now, they did hit a bump in the road, Jack. You'll remember that. August 19th to the 28th, right in the middle of this fierce battle, team lost 8 out of 9. And some thought, well, reality is setting in. The Marlins are done. But all Jack did was lead them, and these players did their job, and they won 21 of the next 29 games the rest of the way. On the 26th of September, for the second time in history, clinched the wild card at Pro Player Stadium, a 4-3 win over the Mets. Pavi was the winner, Carl Pavano, and Uget Turbina picked up the save. JP caught the final out. Niner was 2 for 4 with a home run off Aaron Heilman in that game, and a big celebration was kicked off. So that takes us to postseason, and then this is where I want the panel here now to chip in. So Jack, you heard me run through sort of that run from early in the month of May through the rest of that season. Some ups and downs, but mostly a lot of positive things happened. Tell us what you did immediately when you went downstairs on that Sunday morning and had to talk to the team about taking over for Jeff Torborg.
Well, Dave, you know, at 72 years old, Jeffrey and David got a lot of heat because they hired an old seasoned veteran. But to be honest with you, I was so old, I can remember Preparation A. But it wasn't really a big task because I had some experience in the past taking over clubs in the middle of the season. San Diego, Cincinnati, Oakland. So I kind of had a little experience of knowing what to do when I came over here to Florida. But basically, I had an opportunity when I was managing the Reds 2 years earlier to see the talent that they had on this club, but it just seemed it was staying in neutral. And I said to my coach, Don Gellert, at the time, in 2000, I said, you know, God, wouldn't I like to manage that? Well, not knowing that in 2003 I'd get that opportunity. So I kind of had an idea what the talent was on this ball club, and I just figured I just had to go in there and just push them a little bit and lay them, lay the law down. I basically told them that I was down here, I wasn't down here to babysit, I was down here to win. And if you didn't want to get on that train going north to the winning club, there was the door. And basically, you leave your egos at the door and let's have some fun. Let's go out and get the 500. We get the 500, we're going to roll. Well, we got the 500, we roll. So basically, It was the greatest club I ever managed. I managed 17 years in the big leagues, but this club here was a special club. It was so unselfish, dedicated guys that really had a tremendous desire to win. And the unselfishness, I mean, I used to have, and these guys could verify, I used to have meetings sometimes and have to apologize to the extra guys on the team. I wasn't giving them enough action. And believe me, to a man, Redmond and all those guys would come up to me after the meeting and say, hey, Skip, don't worry about us. Just keep doing what you're doing. And that's the kind of camaraderie we had. The extra guys, people say to me, well, who was the most valuable players on your team? I says the extra guys. The guys that were pulling for our frontline players all the time, encouraging them, looking for ways to help them perform better, and never complain or gripe about their not playing time. And those kind of guys, you know, you just think the world of. And when you have those kind of players, you know you're going to have a successful season. So basically, you know, I give all the credit to the players because they were super, and they had no egos. I mean, you could ask Mike Lowe, Pudge, or Jeff, or any of those guys to bunt. They didn't challenge you. They just knew this is the right way to do it, and we're going to go ahead and do the best we can. You know, some guys in other clubs I've had would challenge you. Me, the bunt? I got 20 home runs. I should have bunt. They were interested in doing any little thing to win a game. And of all the clubs, that's the most proudest club I've ever managed.
All right, Jack. Juan, Pierre. JP, what do you remember most about, before we get to postseason, about the run to get to postseason? The ups and downs that you had, some losing streaks, and then, of course, that great surge at the very end. What do you remember most about all of that?
Jack said it best, man, because when you're in it, like in 03, I was like my third or fourth year in the big leagues, you just go about it, but after playing on teams after you really realize how special the 03 team was, and Jack said it best, was the unselfishness. We just really got along. Like, you could go in anybody's locker. We were all pretty young, but you had Pudge, veteran guys that's been around, had all-stars, had all this stuff. Conine was one, and when Conine came along, he just fit right in, you know, he was cracking jokes, and, you know, we had like a million handshakes. Like, we had to start the game like 3 or 4 minutes late, because we had to make sure we got everybody a handshake. Conine was right in the middle of it, you know, with Mike Lowell, so I remember we had an off day in Atlanta. I forgot when it was, maybe August, maybe September. We had an off day in Atlanta. And, you know, when you have off days on the road, you know, you usually don't see your teammates. Like, you get to choose your own friends that day, type deal. But I remember we had a basketball goal, like at the roof of the hotel, and there was about 15 guys out there playing horse basketball. So that's what I remember most about just that collectiveness and the unselfishness and people getting along, and then it ended up showing on the baseball field, because early it was ugly. But when Jack came in, he gave, the most I remember that he gave was a sense of accountability. Accountable for your action when you go out there on the field, accountable for the next guy. Because if you don't do your work, then you're putting everybody else in the bind. And Jack, especially the pitching staff, he you know, we had Beckett, who could, you know, he was young, right? Let's say he was a young first rounder. You had Penny, you had AJ was hurt, but you had Pavano. These guys had all the talent, and they could be kind of, you know, you have talent sometimes. You just kind of go through the motions and you still get by. You know, they'll pitch 6, 7 innings, give up 2-3 runs just on pure talent. But Jack challenged them to finish the games and to go deeper in the games, and he even had them not go in for bathroom breaks he locked the clubhouse one day. Because the guys in the big league, you go to the bathroom, especially pitchers, they don't do jack. Starting pitchers, they don't pitch. I mean, God bless them. They're workers, you know what I mean? They don't even want to take up space, you know? But they'll run to the bathroom.
They ain't going to the bathroom. Come on. They ain't going to the bathroom. Go in there and get something to eat, make a sandwich.
Sandwich, they'll spend 3, and we were playing pro player at the time. It was hot, you know what I mean? So they had the cold AC, just hanging out. And Jack had enough of it one day, in the old pro player, you had to walk through like a little concourse to get to the clubhouse, and he locked it. He said, you got to get permission to ask him to go use the bathroom. And leave the dugout. The little things like that Jack pushed us in. yeah. And the PP cars, as he called them. But yeah, so he pushed us along, and all the ups and downs of that year, it all just started coming together, and honestly, you don't even remember. Like, in September, you were like, how did we get here? Like, what happened? Because while you're in it, you're just winning, you're playing game, win series, sweep, win series, and we had like 6 teams to lead, and everybody will come in, they'll come in, the pro player will sweep them, and it was a fun ride, and the best fun I ever had on the baseball diamond.
JP, from where I sit up top and looking down, I can't see into the dugout, but I know every time the Marlins got something going, I heard this terrible racket coming from the dugout. Couldn't figure out what it was. It was an awful noise, very loud, overpowering everything else that was going on in the ballpark. What was going on down there?
Just guys pulling for each other.
How about Redmond?
Yeah, Redmond, Andy Fox. He said it right with the guys that was on the bench. We had Banks, Redmond, Andy Fox, all these guys, Lenny Harris, all these guys that were Hollinsworth, all these Gerald Williams, Mordecai was probably our MVP in the postseason. I remember we were playing against the Yankees. It was game 4. He had every pitch Contreras had. He told all of us. He said, I got his pitches. And we lit him up that game. But that's how Mordecai was in the game that much, as well as the other guys. But all these guys just was cheering, and the pro player, like, it was old school, so you could hear everything out there. It's a football field. So, and that's what I meant about guys actually generally pulling for each other. You get it. Some guys are like, man, I want this guy to do well. I don't want to do that well. I want to play. Get one hit and strike out. I might get a chance to get in there the next day. But these guys didn't show any of that, and they really helped us and propelled us on. And they were the extra eyes when we couldn't see when we were playing.
Jeff Conine, for a good part of that season, you were on the outside looking in. All of a sudden, I assume it was the agent that called and said, pack your bags. You're heading to Miami. Tell us about that moment in time when you got tapped on the shoulder by your agent to say being moved.
That was very bizarre. I was with the Baltimore Orioles at the time. We were in Seattle, as far as you could possibly go in Florida. I didn't know this at the time, but when you pull up to the airplane, yeah, we have tough travel, folks. Sorry about that. But we pull up to the airplane, we get to do the TSA check right there, and we just get on the plane and go. So I'm on the bus. There's a big long line, so I'm just waiting on the bus for the line to die down before everybody gets checked. And I'm sitting in the back of the bus by myself. And there's 2 buses. One is staff, front office, coaches, and then there's one for the players. So I'm sitting in the back of the bus, and our GM at the time, Jim Beattie, I see him walk around the bus, and he gets on the bus. And there was actually 2 guys sitting in the very front. And I'm like, all right, this is odd because he never comes on our bus. He stops briefly at those 2 guys and says hello and then starts walking back to me, and I'm like, all right, where am I going? Because there's no way he's coming to talk to me about, you had a good game today in Seattle. So he sits down next to me and he says, well, Jeff, I've got a deal on the table right now that has you going back to Florida. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, but it's contingent upon you agreeing to extend your deal by a year. And the trade deadline was midnight that night, and I'm getting on a plane going from Seattle to Baltimore. By the time I land, it's going to be past midnight. Thank God they had earphones. Remember the earphones in the back of the seats? That's how I got my deal done, basically. As soon as I got on the plane, or before I got on the plane, I called my wife, and she's flipping out because I'm possibly going to come back home to play, which was, we made our home here in Florida. We spent the first 5 years of my career here in Florida, and then, of course, a few other stops, but we always had our home base here in Florida. Children were born here and raised. So the prospect of going back home, basically, to play was very exciting to both of us. But it was contingent upon me working out this extra year on this deal. So the plane gets in the air. I get on the phone. I have my wife call my agent. He's also in the air going from Oklahoma City back to California. So we have to wait for him to get on the ground in Oklahoma, back in California, contact the Marlins people, Jack and Larry Beinfest and Mike Hill and David Sampson, And it was the most bizarre, craziest time of my career, obviously. So I'm calling, she can't call me, obviously the phone in the back of the seat's not gonna ring. So I have to call her, keep calling her. Did you get a hold of anybody? What do they say? And then it's just this bizarre thing. So basically at about 11:56 p.m., Larry Beinfest is on the other end of the line. He's like, Jeff, yes or no? I gotta have a deal right now. If I don't get this in within the next 3 minutes, you can't be on the playoff roster. What's it gonna be? I said, let's do it. And I stuck that thing back up there and I said my goodbyes to my teammates and I was off to Florida the next morning.
Great story.
And then, so the next day, we had a day game. It's, I think, Labor Day, or it was a day game at Pro Player. So I just come from one of probably my favorite ballpark in the entire Major Leagues, Camden Yards. I mean, I got to play with Cal Ripken for 3 years. We sold out basically every night. I mean, this is a shrine of baseball. I go back to Pro Player. There's no BP that day. It was a day game. It was a 4 o'clock game. I'm in the clubhouse. I get all my stuff done. I get all warmed up. I run out to left field, and I turn around and I see about 65,000 orange seats. And I'm like, what did I do? Because I was in the American League, National League. I wasn't really following the Marlins that much. I'm caught up in my season in the American League. I knew they're close to the top. I didn't really know a whole lot about the players on the team or anything like that. And I just turned around and I'm like, oh my God, it's 1 billion degrees out here, and there's 300 fans in the stands. And what did I do? But it all worked out.
But you were happy to stand in the line and receive your ring the next year, I'm sure.
It's all about the jewelry. Not many ladies in here, but it's all about the jewelry. Isn't that right, ladies?
Yeah.
Same for us.
All right. I want to get back to Jack. We get through that division series, the series with the Giants in dramatic fashion. And Niner throws JT out of the plate, and Bedlam breaks loose. Got a series coming up against a very pitching-strong Chicago Cub ball club. And without going through all of that, because we want to get to the World Series, I want to go right to perhaps the most exciting 27 minutes of baseball the team has ever played. And that was Game 6 and that inning against the Chicago Cubs, who were favored and who, at the moment, as I recall, were 5 outs away from a trip to the World Series. The Cubs were 5 outs away from going to the World Series. 27 minutes later, the Marlins had not only won the game, but did something to the Chicago Cub franchise from which they have yet to recover, and they're hoping that recovery will go on. Jack, tell me what that was like to watch what was happening in that 27 minutes of exciting baseball.
Well, like you said, when you're down and look at the scoreboard, and you're 5 outs to go, and you begin going home. But you had to realize what this club was like. They took advantage of every opportunity that came along. And we all sat in that dugout and just waited. When are we going to get an opening? Because all that past 3 or 4 months when we were really on the roll, we took advantage of every opening. And we're just waiting for an opening. And we all know we got that opening. When we got that opening, all hell broke loose, and we came through with flying colors. And that was the 8-run inning of the 8 runs. We got
8 runs.
And Bartman.
The Bartman play was in that
That
inning.
poor guy. And then something about Cabrera. And I said this many a time that year, I kind of hope he could get up every inning. Because something good happened. He'd either get a base on balls, get hit by a pitch, he'd hit a ball and someone would make an error, or he'd get a key hit. And, basically this is what happened in that game. But a lot of times they'll forget, and I look back and say, God, what a smart move I made. Pinch hitting for Gonzalez in the 6th inning and putting Mordecai in. And Mordecai, we were ahead 5-3, and Mordecai comes up with the bases loaded and banks one off the left field wall, and he got the 8 runs. But those guys are, just special. And
Yeah.
it was exciting to see that we knew that going into Chicago for that series, that we were going to face 2 of the best pitchers in the league. And both of those guys, Pryor and Wood, had dominated us during the season. But for some reason, there was that feeling in the clubhouse and on the team that we were not going to be denied. And believe me, that's exactly what happened.
I want to see the reaction from Niner and JP when I tell this very quick little story about that inning. I was doing the play-by-play. My partner, John Shambi Boog, is sitting beside me. Morty hit that ball into the gap. My eyes were like this. I couldn't hardly believe it. Called the play, the run scoring and everything. And simultaneously, Boog and I turned and looked at each other, and we both mouthed, "Mike Mordecai?" It was a great moment.
Jack, what's his nickname? He was your secret weapon, right? That's what you nicknamed him.
Oh, yeah.
Mordecai was the secret weapon.
Yeah, it's a secret weapon because 3 or 4 times during the season, I'd put him in at Mike and late in the game, or maybe the next inning game, Mike rolled to get out, and I'd put Morty in the run. And I'd get the radio announcers and the press will all criticize. How could he take the guy that hits 30 home runs out of the game? Well, you want a little speed. You got your last at bat. You want to take advantage of it. So, well, what would happen? See, so we'd go about the 11th inning, and who'd be leading off the 11th inning was Mordecai. And what did he do? He hit one in the seats. 3 times he did that. So I used to call him my secret weapon. But he was a great kid and very, very dedicated. As Juan said, he studied this game, and he didn't get to play much, but boy, when he did, he made it count.
The Marlins get to the World Series, and Game 1 is played at Yankee Stadium. The Marlins won the game 3-2 behind Brad Penny. Game 2 at Yankee Stadium, this is October 19th now. The Yankees win 6-1. And now the series is even at a game apiece, and we're going to Pro Player Stadium in Miami. Game 3, October 21st. 1-1 tie to the 8th inning. Jeter gets a double, Matsui an RBI single, 2-1 Yankees. They score 4 in the ninth, 6-1 Yankees. Back-to-back Yankee victories, 6-1. The Marlins are hammered. Neither the feeling in the clubhouse after that Game 3.
Well, obviously, when you get back to your home field, you want to use that to your advantage and take advantage of being at home and win those games. But the Yankees had a powerhouse team. We knew that offensively they're extremely solid. But like Jack said, I don't think there was one person in that clubhouse that was hanging their head saying, "Oh my gosh, it's the Yankees, we're done." Not one guy thinking that we couldn't come back in this series and even up and take it. Not one guy. So in that sense, it was such a special team, and I haven't really chimed in on this yet, but I was on the '97 championship team for the Marlins, and a lot of people ask me what the difference of the 2 teams was. Thank you, sir. One person remembered '97. What the difference between the 2 teams were. '97 was built by Wayne Huizenga to win the World Series. He went out and spent a lot of money and said, "We're going to build a team, championship team to win this World Series." Whereas the Marlins in '03, it evolved into that championship team just by a collection of people, not baseball players, but people. I mean, JP said it great that we got along so well together. We almost played like we were a family. And to be able to experience that once in your career, hopefully you'll be able to experience it a bunch of times, but to be able to do that one time in your career was really special. I was only with the team a month and a half, and it was the most fun I've ever had on a baseball field my entire life. I mean, like the bench guys. I mean, it was a comedy show every single night. Andy Fox and his lines, his movie lines. I mean, the first night I get there, Josh Beckett's pitching, and he 1-2-3 first inning, So Andy Fox jumps on the top of the step. He goes, "Come on, guys, Storm's run. He's pitching his ass off." We haven't even hit yet. What's going on here? He did that every single night. If it was a 1-2-3 inning, he'd jump up on top step and scream at us. At the same line, I'm like, oh my God, we had us in stitches every single night. Mike Redmond taking naked BP and stuff like that. Bad sight. I don't want to paint the picture, but I wasn't there either. You guys saw it, but apparently they're in a bad streak, hitting slump, and lost 10 games in a row. And they were hitting inside, folks, hitting inside. In the cages, nobody saw it but the team. Thank goodness. It was enough, but it turned them around, and that's the kind of team we had. The bench guys, they did whatever they could to support their teammates, and they knew we had something special. They knew they were part of it. They knew their role, and I said it was the most fun I've ever had. So when we were down 2-1 to the Yankees, we just shrugged it off and said, "All right, game 4, let's go get it."
And to this day, there are former Marlins players that still can't get rid of that picture in their mind, but that's another story.
He actually was my man. Played for us last year. Red.
Terrific person. Good baseball man. October 27th at Pro Player Stadium, it's game 4 now, trying to come back against the Yankees, who have taken a 2-1 lead in this game. What a moment in the first inning of that game. Miguel Cabrera, the kid, is in the batter's box against Roger Clemens. Clemens has heard about this kid, Cabrera. So Clemens decides to brush him back and knock him down, one right up at the noggin. And he did knock him down and brush him back. And Jack, all the kid did was step up and hit a home run to right center.
One of the best at-bats I've ever seen.
3-run first inning, and it took a while, but the Yankees were done. They came back and tied the game in the 9th inning, tied the game at 3, but in the 12th inning, we'll never forget this, Alex Gonzalez, walk-off home run, ripped it down the left field line. It was just a matter of staying fair. And it did. JP, do you remember the moment?
Oh yeah, definitely remember the moment. It was, like you said, it was a tough game all night, and just when you talk, you start reliving the stuff in your head. Even that we mentioned probably 5 or 6 guys that you wouldn't even thought would have affected the game. You mentioned Mordecai, Alex Gonzalez, but that's what team we had. Like any given night, it could have been somebody to step up, and Alex did it. I think he was having a rough series. I don't think he had that many hits going in the series, but we always knew. I think he hit like 22 home runs that year, so we knew he had to pop in his bat that one swing. It could be over, and that's what it was. We had the perfect view from our dugout of the ball, and if that ball went foul, we would have been embarrassed. We all was about on the field, first baseline as it was going out, and that's one picture I think is in the clubhouse still and everywhere is us gathering around and him coming into home plate, and it was just an incredible feeling. I felt like I hit the home. I think everybody felt like they hit the home run, and I think that instant was like, okay, game on again. You know, we like I said, always looking for a break, and we felt that was the Yankees slipped and let us get that game.
Going into that 12th inning before the Alex Gonzalez home run, who would have thought that from that moment on, the Marlins would win 3 straight from the New York Yankees to win the World Championship? But it happened. Next night, Game 5, a 6-4 win. Brad Penny was terrific on the mound. Uget Urbina finished it up, gave the Marlins a 3-2 series lead. And then into Game 6 at Yankee Stadium. And there's a lot of conversation going on with the baseball people, the hierarchy of the ball club, and Jack McKeon. Who is going to get the ball for Game 6? Jack, walk us through, if you will, that process that brought you to decide that you would pitch a kid on 3 days rest.
Well, when you're down here, you know, I grew up in the New York, New Jersey area, and I knew and I followed the World Series. Many times the Yankees were in the World Series, and they had that mystique about something good would happen to the Yankees if you ever got them to Game 7. So I had that in my mind. I'm going to do everything I can to prevent Game 7. Mark Redmond was scheduled to pitch. His turn to pitch. He had been bombed by the Cubs, and the Yankees, he's been beaten in that 6-1 game. And I just didn't think that he matched up with the Yankees. I thought that his stuff was very biddable for the Yankees. So I said to myself, I said, I can't pitch it. I got to win this thing. And my best bet is Beckett. So I called Beckett in, and I said, what do you think? I'm thinking about pitching you in the 6th game. And I said, how do you feel? He said, let me go out and throw a bullpen. I said, okay. So he went out and threw a bullpen, and he said, he came back in, he said, I'm your guy. Good. I said, you're pitching. So, you know, like Dave said, a lot of criticism. How can you start a guy, 3 days rest? History says this, history says that. History is in the past. I'm thinking about the future. So being politically correct, I kind so-and-so, what do you think? Manager, owner, I went around the list. What do you think? Got any idea? I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. Okay, I said, well, Beckett's going to pitch. So we go to New York, and now before the 6th game, we got the press, some of you guys in the press have been at the conference, here they all from all over the country saying, it's not possible, no way that you can win pitching a guy with 3 days rest. But I think they forgot that Pettit, who was going to pitch against us, has had his normal rest. But they forgot that the game that previously that Pettit beat us 6-1, he pitched on 3 days rest. But nobody said a word. So I just said we're going to pitch and, take my chances. And I'll tell you, when he went out on that mound in the 1st inning, and I said it to the pitching coach, Wayne Rosenthal. I said, after watching him pitch to the first couple guys, I said, they ain't going to touch him tonight. I mean, he was super. So then, he got going, we got the lead, and had the lead with going into the 8th and 9th inning, and I figured, well, he's pitching, he's going to pitch, and I'm not taking him out unless they tie the game. So I had a couple guys warming up just for show. Everybody all excited, I'm not going to take him out, I guess. I'm not going to take him out. It's his game, man, the way these guys pitch. But when he, I worked for Ray Crocker with San Diego, and his thoughts was that dreams do come true. And, when Beckett tied that guy, Posada, going down the first base line for the final out, everybody ran out the field. I sat there like, I'm numb. I couldn't believe, hey, this is happening to us. And all I could think about was looking up to the heavens and saying, thank you, Lord, and Ray Kroc, you're up there. You're right, dreams do come true.
JP, it's the top of the 5th inning. No score in that game. You and Alex Gonzalez draw walks. And club's got 2 men on. What are you thinking out there on the base paths? You look up a packed Yankee Stadium, no score in this game. You know what your pitcher's doing. And you know that there's an opportunity here maybe to put a run on the board.
Yeah, like Jack said, when Beckett went out, Yankees had a great lineup. But you just can see Beckett was dialed in, and as an offense, you're like, man, if we just get one, we can win the game. you know. So you keyed in on that. Let's try to squeak one by. And but for the whole game, I think I wanted to throw up, man. I was just so nervous. Like that, like for me, I was like, you just can't believe it. Like you get in the moment, but you're like, I can't believe. That's why you go back and look at old tapes. It's like, wow, we were there. You know, you kind of look at it crazy, but we just knew if we could get one run and push one across, and I think Alex may have. Who hit the ball?
Luis Castillo.
Luis hit the ball, and that was probably the best slide I've ever seen to escape the tag by Posada. And at that point, Louis, God bless Louis. You know Louis is so hard on himself. He's like the worst on himself, and he was having a tough series. And every time he get an out, he's I just want to retire, man. I don't know. That was his line, man. But he played with so much passion. He cared so much about how he did. And I bet you think anybody in the dugout wasn't the person that we didn't want at the plate because he wanted to get hit because he had been struggling so bad. And once we pushed that one run across, we were like, okay, you know, that could, you know, continue to do your thing. We had such a great defense behind him. It just was set up right, but like you said, while you're in the moment, man, it's nerve-wracking. And I don't even think we didn't even celebrate that much after we won because we celebrated against the Giants. We beat the Cubs, and when we got to the Yankees, we were just drained. There's like no celebration left. We did manage to celebrate, but
Just a little.
Gonna get to some questions, JP, for a second.
One thing,
Yeah.
Dave, Juan said about Louis. Louis had a bad streak there, but he was so intense that I had to go over and pat him on the back all the time and just tell him, Louis, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. He would make an effort to get a runner over and it didn't work out, and he would be down in the dumps. And, you know, if it wasn't for guys like Louis, we would have never succeeded in winning the World Series. But it was, as Juan said, you're so happy to see him get the key hit there to put us that extra run on the board because he was down on himself all along because he wasn't doing what he thought was helping the ball.
Mm-hmm. So the Marlins are up 1-0 on Louis' base hit. To drive in Alex Gonzalez. Now it's the 6th inning. Niner, how'd you get on base?
If I remember correctly, it was a rare error by Derek Jeter.
There you go.
Yeah.
There was a Jeter error to put Niner on base. Mike Lowell followed with a walk. D. Lee, who might have hit the ball out of Yankee Stadium, put down a sac bunt.
That's what we're talking about, unselfish.
There you go.
Give the guys over.
Now you're at third base. Juan Encarnacion's the batter. Sac fly. Sac bunt, sac fly, 2-0 Marlins. That would be the final score. Because in the 9th inning, Bernie Williams flied out to left. Matsui flied out to left. And Posada hit a ball on the ground about 42.5 feet from home plate. And Josh Beckett fielded the ball.
Which was a miracle. Josh Beckett, while one of the most dominating, phenomenal pitchers on the mound, was one of the worst athletes you've ever seen. When that ball rolled over there, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be a disaster. He's going to go like this, the ball's going to go flying, he's going to be safe, the whole game's going to go tumbling out of control. And he picked it up like it was nothing and tagged him out, and we're all like, I think we're more shocked that Josh actually fielded the ball and tagged him, and we just won the World Series. Am I right?
Yes, it was almost an anticlimactic final out of a World Series. The ball 40 feet from the plate, and Josh just picked it up and casually tagged Posada, and the celebration began. So that was Game 6 and a World Championship for the Marlins, and these two players right here and this skipper, a huge part of that. And I think that if you go back and look at that season, there are a lot of individual stars, but it was a great team effort. Got a question for Jack McKeon. Can you talk about how you decided to trade your son-in-law? Jack McKeon was at San Diego. His son-in-law is Greg Booker. Jack, give us a little history on trading your son-in-law and how you fared with your daughter after that.
Well, I have no problem with that. Anytime you got a son or son-in-law or brother or what have you, and they're pitching well, it's all good. When they pitch poorly, it's the nepotism, so. And fortunately, that year, I had designed my bullpen into a couple categories. We had the closer and setup guy, but then we had a couple abusers. And we had guys like Booker, Mark Grant, and Leaper. They were the three abusers. So when we're getting beat, 5 or 6 to 1, come on, guys, suck it up. Well, they'd go in there and suck it up. Maybe they probably get 5 or 6 runs off them, and the fans would boo them. Well, a lot of times Booker was in there. So, boo! He's on the team because he's McKeon's son-in-law. Well, it was taking a toll on him. It was taking a toll on me, so I decided to trade him. I traded him to Minnesota. It was a relief for him too.
This would be for Jeff and for Juan. Let's start. Let Jeff answer first, and then Juan. 1, do you miss playing? 2, will you ever coach? Jeff?
Yes, and definitely no. I think as a professional athlete, our whole lives are nothing but baseball. I mean, I played when I was 7 years old, and you make your life out of this game. I was extremely fortunate to play 16 years in the big leagues, and people ask me that question all the time, do you miss playing? I said, yes, 100%. I miss the competition. I miss the in-between the lines, competing at that level during the game. I miss the clubhouse. I miss being around guys like this because that's your family for 7 months out of the year, and you make these bonds, and you have friends, and it's like a fraternity that you're in for life. I miss that the most. The media, no offense to anybody, the media, a lot of the travel. I hated the travel at the end, was horrible. Being away from the family, all that stuff you can have, but on the field, between the lines, and the clubhouse, I'd love to have that back. And coaching, I don't know, that's part of it. I don't want to travel anymore. I was a bus guy when we went to the baseball field. I got there late, I did my things quickly, I got ready to play the game, and I got on there, and some of these guys get to the ballpark at noon and hang out, and as a coach, you got to be there before everybody else. And I just, at this point in my life, with my kids, I got to spend some great time with them. I still have one in high school, so I don't see it changing when he's gone, but you never know. I think my wife would get sick of me and say, why don't you go coach or something? Get out of the house.
JB?
I'm going to echo the same thing Conine said, just do miss playing the game for all the reasons he said, just the competing, just baseball was fun, we had a blast. That's why I don't nothing against Bryce Harper. It's like, man, baseball fun, and I had a blast. You know what I mean? Baseball is fun when you win it, and nobody's happy when they're losing, you know what I mean? So, but it still was fun. Just like Conine said, that's all you know for so much of your life, especially your livelihood. But the competing, and as far as the coaching, I don't see myself right now. He's on the back end of his kids. I just had my third son. He's 2 weeks old, so I'm just starting. Yeah, my oldest is 4 years old, and I have a 2-year-old, so I don't see myself traveling. Maybe I could talk to Mike Hill or tell him to give me one of those special assistant jobs. Stay at the house, do something like that. And don't have to travel. Then we might talk. But if I had to get on a plane and do all that stuff, I don't see it in the near future.
All right, Jack. Did you ever I'm going to paraphrase the question because I don't fully get this, Alan. Sorry about that. I apologize. He wants to know if Jack ever had the urge to string Juan to first base to keep him from stealing. Did you ever give Juan the stop sign?
No, I don't think so.
I'll tell you one story. Let me tell you. It's funny. We're in Chicago. I don't know when, it's like 04, 05. It's not the World Series year. But we were playing in Wrigley Field, and it was a hit and run play. It was like a hot chopper. And I thought I could make it from first to third on the play, and the guy pump fake, got me out at third. And I got back in the dugout, and Jack being Jack, you don't hold no punches. He was like, "What were you thinking? Jesse Owens couldn't even made it that way." I still remember, I tell that story all the time. Man. We dropped the Jesse Owens on me. I was like, I had to go look up Jesse Owens.
I don't even remember that. But Juan was a pretty smart base runner, and he knew when he put his own stop sign on. He knew when he didn't want to go, or didn't have to go, or wasn't supposed to go. I had no problem with Juan. When we talk about, what'd you say, put a rope around him? I have to tell you a story about when I was managing in the Pioneer League, 1950, 58, 57, 58. And I had this little runner named Sandy Valdespino who played a number of years in the big leagues. And I was managing Missoula, which was Class C. And Sandy started the season in Appleton, Wisconsin in Class B. And they sent him down to me when Pete Suter was the manager, and he sent me a note saying, "This guy can really run, but he don't know how to run." So, the first night he got there, put him in the lineup, leading off. Tie game, bottom of the ninth, he triples. Great. I'm coaching third, and I said, and the infield comes in, I said, "Make the ball be through, Sandy. Comprende? See. First pitch, Jay Ward is the hitter. The first pitch, ground ball to third baseman, he's out at the plate. He's gone. Okay, we lose that game. Next night, identical situation. Bottom of the ninth, he leads off with a single. So I got the next guy up, Benny Sinkfield. He drops down a beautiful bunt. I look up, like Juan said. He didn't stop at second. He's coming to third, and he's out again. So finally, I had a little chat with him after the game, and I went downtown the next day, and I bought a clothesline. And of course, those days, he couldn't get away with it today. But those days, in the 50s, you get away with anything, and especially when you're playing manager like I was. So I had this pitcher, one of the extra pitchers that never got the pitch. You put him as coaching first base. I said, "Look, when he gets on, I'm going to send the rope out." I tied him into a loose, what do you call it?
A lasso.
Lasso. I tied it into that. I said, "When he gets on, I'm sending the rope up. You put the rope around him, stand in the coaching box, and hold him. I will make the hitter take until he gets a strike." Well, led the game off with a walk. Sent the rope out. Put the rope around him. Here's the guy holding him in the coaching box. Ball one. Ball two. Ball three. Strike one, took the rope off. We never had any more problems with it.
We've got time for it.
You couldn't get away with that today with the umpire.
I can't remember what I had for breakfast, but he's talking about 1958. Every play in that game he can